Right, hey guys, and I'm going to bring you some interesting content today. So, once again, we are going to see a little bit more of Alliance Tournament. And today I want to show you guys some rather interesting matches. It's not about any particular character or anything like that. Well, I mean, it's always about Jean Grey, but then again, today we're going to see some matches that turned out a lot more different than what you would expect if you were the attacker or the opponent. And we're going to look at some very close call matches. The kind of interesting aspect of these Jean Greys that are fighting each other. So before we go in, let me just tell you that Jean Grey has an interesting mechanic of revive, and the way these tournaments and Conquest handles revive is such that a revive character, if they are the only one left, they have to make sure that the opponent has no remaining characters that's alive. Because if the revive character is up against a character that hasn't died before, the revive character automatically loses. So that's kind of the mechanic that happens. So if you have two revive characters remaining, it's a draw. But if you have one revive character and one normal life character, the normal alive character will always win. So that is the mechanic of revive. So now let's just go on ahead. I'm going to show you some interesting matches. So I've saved the best ones for last. So before we get to that, I'm going to show you a match from here, Eternals versus Korea. So let's just start off with something pretty cool. There was this attack, I believe it's by C1, yeah, C14L. Let's just look for it. Mm-hmm. Give me a sec. Okay, yeah, this one. So C14L's failed attack. So let's just have a look at this one, right? Sounds pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to try to narrate this, but try to keep up. More than often, you just see the buffs that are taking place. So as you can see, the Deadpool has gone into his fifth, doing a lot of damage, eradicating the opponent Deadpool, and no surprise there, Strife falls. This is very common. The Gene on the other team is dead after a revive. So all that's left now is the Gene on the team of this Eternal side. So it's Deadpool and Jean versus this Thanos, but man, look at this Thanos taking it like a champ. He's so tanky, going in into his endless void and then automatically just wrecking the fight. That was literally just Thanos just overpowering Deadpool and Jean, and that was pretty crazy how that Thanos did that to come back from that endless void. Right, so now that we got that out of the way, that was pretty much the simplest or least interesting match that we're going to see today. So let's get into the little more interesting ones. So we have Revengers versus Odyssey here. We're going to look at a few, I believe, draw matches. One of it is the pro-life attack. So as you can see, there's no victory or defeat text, which means that this was a match that ended in a draw. So let's have a look at what how this draw takes place, and let's see what really happens, right, to produce a draw. So we have Spider-Man on both sides and a Deadpool instead of Thanos on one end, which is pretty cool to see two speed characters trying to compete in the meta. This is really good because they are doing well for the most part. They have gotten rid of Jean and Spider-Man. Jean's on her revive. Now it's just Thanos trying to survive this three-person onslaught because he doesn't go into iframes as much as these two speed characters. So I know it's kind of a ragdoll situation, but what we can see is that Jean has gone into her revelation. Um, and that's going to do a lot of damage to try to whittle down this Thanos and finally take him down. So now it's these two speedsters getting wrecked by this single Jean Grey that is left. And she's basically trying to ragdoll the other two, and having gone into her revelation, forces the remaining Jean to be on her revive. And that's where the draw happens. So as you saw, both Jeans were still left standing, but because they were both revived Jeans, it results in a draw. Nonetheless, an interesting battle, but let's just have a look at another one here. So we have, let's just see, Threadhead is an attack against Threadhead. So let's go down here a little bit. There we go. It's an attack against Threadhead. So let's have a look at this one. Alright. So here we have a CM and a Wasp on the opposing team. Not something you see very often. And especially this team does not have a Jean Grey, which is a rare occurrence, of course. We see a lot of Jean Greys. I mean, it's surprising someone doesn't have them. So they're relying on Strive's debuff removal leadership, which is pretty cool. So now the Jean and Wasp are dead on the opposing team. It's literally a Thanos versus Thanos and CM. Should be pretty straightforward, but let's just watch how well this Thanos holds his own against these two monstrosities, right? He's going into his endless void, and I mean, it's pretty crazy. Two Thanos performing endless void at similar sessions. We have CM as well, trying to do as much DPS as she can. But man, this Thanos, he's so tanky right now. That is literally the last second, and CM falls at the very last second to give them the win. Now, honestly, that was really, really close. If that CM had survived, it would have been a victory, but yeah, that's pretty much what happened, and it was pretty crazy. Alright, so that's about the matches for Avengers versus Odyssey. I'm going to show you a little bit of Nightmare versus Universal. And let's have a look at an attack against Cristofolo over here. So here we have Nick Fury and Strife as the supports on opposing ends. I wouldn't be surprised if Strife dies first. But let's just see. Yep, Strife dies first. Okay, I guess no surprise. This Jean has a lot of buffs stacked on her. The opposing Jean is the only one left against 3 of these. But look at what she does. She's going to go into her 5th, and she's going to just keep card breaking them. Nick Fury is down. Another 5th. She's going to chain that card break like crazy. She's going to do another 5th. And she's going to keep up this chain till like the end of the world. She's going to do so much damage. Thanos is down. She's going to do another 5th to pierce through that, and she's going to get her revelation off during that time, which is pretty crazy. But now it's Jean versus Jean. Both have been reset. One of them have already used their revelation ability. So now this Jean is pretty much free to show off the full brunt of her strength. And now it's just a 1 versus 1. It's going to end. So we do know we saw a revive on both sides. Because of that, it's going to be another draw. It's pretty crazy how that Jean just ragdolled 3 characters by herself, and then ending the fight with that revelation. That was pretty crazy, I have to say. Alright, so with that we have an attack by Kaido. That's also a draw fight. So let's have a look at how this one went. So yeah, pretty crazy matches this time around. I really enjoyed watching them. So let's see. We have a Deadpool and Strife on opposing ends as support. Thanos taking a lot of damage. Wow. He's getting the, I believe, all defense down applied as well in between. So now it seems like a wipe. Hit for this. Jean is going to come back. And look at this crowd control. She's going to 5th, right? She's going to 5th and then just going to just impact so much damage on the other Jean that it's gonna keep her chained for the most part, not being able to get her very own fifth off. And with enough time from that Jean, she's gonna be able to take down Deadpool and the Jean once, and then Thanos is the only one standing, right? But she's gonna go into Revelation. That's gonna change everything. Thanos is down. It's now just a Jean versus Jean. You pretty much know what's gonna happen. So yeah, timer ends and another draw. Man, those chains from the fifth, the guard break, ignore guard break pierce, right? That's really crazy. And of course, on top of that, that revelation, just basically sealing the entire fight. So that was another pretty crazy match. We're gonna look at another one over here between Wanted S and OA, and Nanoquint, I believe, was the one we want to see. Um, is Nanoquint's attack? Yeah, this one. Nanoquint's attack versus Penny Yip, I think. So here we have Stripes on both sides as the support. It's gonna come pretty close as well, but we'll see. Stripe dies first, no surprise. Thanos and Jean. So there's gonna be another 1v3 moment. Get ready for it, man. This is crazy. It's just once these Jeans manage to get their fifth in chain, right? And with like a really low cooldown, they could do this all day. And now it's Jean versus Jean, and surprisingly, Jean versus Jean is not so bad as Jean versus three people. It's kind of funny, but it's pretty much what happens. So now it's two revived Jeans, and they're just not going to be able to kill each other. And we have a revelation going off, but takes no damage. She's just so resistant to the fire and mine damage. She can tank it all day long, and the match is gonna end. So yeah, we get to see another pretty much flat draw match that's resulting in these Jean Grey versus three people. It's pretty crazy what happens. So before we go into the craziest, we just have another two more rather, I guess, expected matches. So we're gonna have a match between Apple and A-Force, and let's see, attack against, I believe it's Apple Haru. Yeah, but it's against him. So let's have a look. Apple Haru. Okay, so this one is not a draw match. So we'll see what really happens. Pretty cool. Alright, so this is an attack against Apple Haru. We have a Spider-Man and Nick Fury on the supporting sides. And what I mean by supporting is that these characters, they don't really do the brunt of the damage, right? They're more to the characters that try to give some crowd control, some damage reduction, some immunity, some survival. And now we're going to see this Spider-Man kind of try to survive the brunt of this Jean Grey. It's just going, like 5 after 5. It's pretty crazy. And the revelation is going to pop. That's possibly the end of Spider-Man. Yeah, actually, wow, he survived Revelation. That's pretty crazy. I actually don't remember that. But I think he will die pretty soon though. But still, managing to tank that Revelation thanks to that CTP of regeneration, that is pretty crazy. And now it's going to be a Jean versus Jean. And check this out. That single Jean basically took on Thanos, Spider-Man, and another Jean, and then literally won because of having that little bit of edge on the HP. Neither of these Jeans died, but if either one had, it would have been a totally different result. Nonetheless, a pretty crazy match. That Spider-Man surviving for the most part was really surprising. So yeah, now let's look at another one. I believe it's this one. It's an attack on this VN Nolngon by Apple Korean S9. I have to say Korean because I have no idea what that even means. So there we go. Okay, so this one is interesting because has a Spider-Man, like the basic homecoming uniform, and I was really surprised to see this. I actually saw a few of them actually use this uniform, and some of them managed to pull off something interesting. So it's not always the stealth suit, I guess, that performs. Spider-Man with the CTP of regeneration can still hold his own, even with this suit. So you can see him going fidget spinner like half of the time and still do quite a crazy bit of damage. So it's 3 versus 2 right now. Seems quite one-sided. Let's just see. It's clean. It's just screen clutter for the most part right now. Spider-Man is gonna die from that crazy amount of damage. No surprise. We had a revelation coming off. Endless Void by one of the Thanos, and then it's to the very last bit. Match is gonna end. Really, really close call for the most part, but this was clearly a victory by hit points. So I guess it's kind of safe to say that it's not all about just like the Jean Grey is the core, right? Your Jean has to be at her peak. But once the Jean Grey is at her best, I guess it kind of comes down to the survivability of the secondary hero. And if you don't have someone like a Thanos, right? I guess it's really, really hard to say what else is going to be able to handle the brunt of, the attack. So we have one attack here by some Korean onto a One Piece, and we get to see the stealth suit this time. And we have a Nick Fury on the opposing end. He's taking a lot of damage, but I think he should be able to survive. Not that he has gone into his full iframe and he just gets popped. Um, so the Jean on the A-Force side apparently has already spent her revive. Thanos has gone down, Jean has gone down. So there's going to be another 1v3, Jean versus 3. Let's watch this. Crazy damage coming out from Spider-Man, but that Jean is now spamming her 5th skill, trying to keep these 3 in crowd control, but eventually it's going to end. So this is pretty kind of straightforward match, but nonetheless it was quite interesting to see how if that Jean had kept going, it would have been pretty crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much the attacks for Apple's side. Now we're gonna go for the craziest ones, right? So this is Dream versus One Nation X, and I have to say these are some pretty crazy matches you're about to see. So one of it is Terrorblade's failed attack against Doc Smith. So let's have a look at this one. Oh man. Yeah, so we have Deadpool and Nick Fury on the opposing ends as the odd ones out. And I know, screen clutter, don't worry too much. All you gotta know is that Jean spent her revive. She's back. Thanos is down, pretty clear. Gonna have a lot of debuffs on the Deadpool, but he's gonna manage to survive that. And the Pierce, though, that's pretty much what's gonna determine these fights because we have a lot of CTP of regen. It's gonna ignore these Pierce effects, giving a lot more life. Jean is really, really low, right? 20k hit points, but watch how she's gonna survive. It's crazy. She's just living with those 20k. She has not gone into her third, so she has not really come to that regeneration ability. And that Jean, the one that just died, she didn't have a regen CTP. Now the match is gonna end, right? Well, guess who won? It's the team with the Deadpool. The reason being was because this Jean was on her revive. So the player that had not like the character that didn't die at all, the Deadpool, automatically claims the victory, even though he had less life than the Gene on the other team. Pretty crazy. So that team literally won because of Deadpool's survivability, nothing else, right? I mean, of course, a lot of other factors, but that's pretty much the determining one. And now, let me save the best for last. Let's look at this one. This is Sweet Speed's attack against Korean from Dream. And we're gonna see how this one goes. This is of course a draw match. So guess you guys can expect the results. But let's see. So once again, we're gonna start off with some good amount of screen clutter. But basically, what's gonna happen is one of Nick Fury or Spider-Man will most likely die first. Nick Fury goes down. So this is going to be followed by Thanos. So it's going to be a Jean versus Jean, Thanos, and Spider match. He's going to revive. I think you guys know what's going to happen, right? Check this out. Fifth skill. Okay. Here it comes again. Get ready for it. She's gonna. Oh, actually, she's getting ragdolled for the most part. Yeah, she's gonna go into a fifth again. So much damage. There she goes, another fifth. More ragdoll into the fourth, taking out the Thanos. Now it's Jean versus Jean, going into her revelation, and she pops the other Jean at the very last second, and that's going to give them the draw. If that Jean like had survived for just one more second, it would have been very unique. But this is the weirdest match for me because that Jean technically died at the very last second. Oops, that was my phone. But anyway, the other Jean actually died at that very last second. So it should have been a victory. But you know what? We'll just go back and we'll rewatch this match because it pretty much seemed like the other Jean actually supposed to revive, right? So let's see it. So this is really odd because of course she hasn't gone into revival yet. But I guess the game counts it such that she had her second life and she would have revived. And so because of that, the draw was given. So let's watch this again. Fury's gonna go down first, followed by Thanos. Then as you can see, the Jean on One Nation X has not died at all, right? She's still at the max of her health. So now the other Jean is gonna try to take on the other three in a 1v3. Pretty crazy. She has so much life. She has double the hit points of the one on One Nation X. She's doing so much work right now. It's pretty crazy. And then very soon she's gonna pop that revelation, right? Oh no, hang on. Yeah, there she goes into revelation. And that Jean dies at the exact last second. And that's gonna give the draw. Crazy match. Really crazy match. So yeah, that's it for the matches for today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know which one was your favorite, and let me know if you guys found an even crazier match that I actually missed out. Because I usually like to watch the ones that, of course, fail their attack. And I've said this before. The reason is because the attacker usually knows what they are getting into. So when they fail their attack, it probably means that something strange or unique happened, or they overestimated their team's capability or underestimated their opponents and got wrecked, which is pretty cool, right? That's like the best parts. So that's pretty much it from me for today. Thanks for watching, and please do let me know what you guys think. Adios.